Now, much of Nigeria's economy, which is started to be the biggest in Africa in terms of natural resources and potential, still runs on a manual model, sadly so. Now, medium and small scale enterprises, which essentially forms the basis for incubating opportunities for the non-oil sectors, have become primary victims of the problem, according to many experts. Now, right now, we're being joined to discuss this by Ukpai, an economist, governorship candidate of the New Nigeria's People's Party in Abia State. I want to say great to have you here on Newsday. And we look at this as we get into the election cycle, whereby electorates are asking potential candidates of different parties on what can be done for the small and medium scale sector. Talk to us at the moment. What do you think? Where is the deficit that should be filled to ensure that we have a vibrant small and medium scale sector to ensure that more opportunities for jobs are being created and literally the lifeblood of any economy is actually very strong?
Thank you. You will agree with me that the economy of Nigeria is actually stuttering. And that's because we are not doing the right things. Our policies are, most part, policies that we have on board already are good, but they are not driven down to the grassroots. And that's a problem. For instance, the present government of Buhari, November 2019, had raised the national digital economy policy and strategy driven by the National Information Technology Development Agency. And they rolled out 8 pillars that NITDA should pursue. Those are good policies, and the digital economy should actually drive our economy to the point where we begin to deal with the world better than we are doing now. If you check the statistics, you find out that even with the poor implementation of these pillars, the digital economy run by NITDA and, in fact, by the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy has actually done a lot to help Nigeria stay out of recession. From data that we have out there, between quarters, digital economy alone was able to add to our revenue out of from 51 billion naira that we had the quarter before. We had 408 billion naira due to our involvement in pushing digital economy in our economy. Now, the monoproduct economy that is driven by oil has to be intentionally replaced by a data-driven economy so that the SMEs that you talk about, the small enterprises will benefit and begin to grow. And beyond just growing within Nigeria, begin to affect Africa and impact the world. And that's possible. So digitizing our economy, making sure that we remove the friction that exists between the supply and the demand is the way to go. It's been said that digital economy can add to any economy in the world 2.5 times its GDP if we're wrong. So we have the policy. 8 pillars of our policy and strategy in digital economy should be able to put us, better state than where we are now. And that is important for those who are running the system, who are, running the government, to understand that it hasn't yet trickled down to the grassroots. It seems that what is being done in the area of digital literacy and skills, one of the pillars of the strategy and the policy, still remains a bit elitist. And so we need to drive it down to the grassroots where the people at the local government level begin to feel the impact of what government is doing at the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. And I would suggest that the federal government needs to be more intentional about this particular ministry. All right, and that's what we're going to do differently in Abia State when we get into government by God's grace. We are going to make digital economy the hub of our governance. And so that's going to be the difference. It's not going to just be a ministry, but it has to permeate all aspects of Abia's economy. And that's the difference. In Nigeria right now, it's still being run as a ministry or as an agency. You need to get digital economy to actually replace an oil-based economy. So we begin to feel the effect in SMEs and wherever. That's what we're going to do differently. And that's going to mean getting our GDP up, getting our revenue, and driving down debt stock and taking our people out of poverty. Abians are going to enjoy that when we get into government by God's grace in 2023.
Very good, Mr. Iro Ukpai. Now, you talked about policies and removing frictions earlier in your analogy, but how would you describe the place of regulation when it comes to actual driving of digitization in Nigeria's economy, you think?
Regulation and regulators are supposed to be, the smoothness of whatever, what you call the rough curves, the rough edges, all right? If the regulator understands what digital economy policy is, that it is actually basically removing friction, removing all the frustrations and adversities and all the things that impede a smooth transaction between the supply and the demand, then even a regulator will make sure that regulation does not become a friction in itself. So you need to regulate properly. So it's good to regulate. We regulate so many things. The banking system is regulated. Yes, you regulate the digital economy because there are threats. Even though digital economy is good, it's not actually the panacea. That is, it doesn't solve all the problems in the world, but it does help a great deal. It's known that digital economy is the cheapest infrastructure you can get right now compared to other infrastructure, soft and hard. Digital economy, infrastructure that comes from it, whether it is soft or hard, is cheaper. They say, that chips these days will soon be cheaper than garbage. All right? So regulate, but don't become a friction in supply and demand. Don't become a problem when you're trying to solve the problem. That's what I have to say.
All right, we'll be speaking with Ukpai Iro Ukpai, Abia State North candidate of the new Nigeria's People's Party on digitization of the Nigerian economy and, of course, in relation to Abia.